good afternoon, and welcome to Galactic Soul Healing. Today I have a Sirian Oracle message that has come through, and it's really exciting. And it is that if Spirit has told me, for people that have not already thought about it in this way before, is that basically everything is an art. So what they want us to start taking on board, along with the previous video about grounding for relaxation and de-stressing, okay, is this little thing here. Well, it's not a little thing, it's a big thing. So basically, we are all artists, okay? Artists of the body, artists of the mind, and artists of the spirit. Because when you think about it, being the the caretaker of your own body is it's a bit of an art, isn't it? And the same with like looking after your mind. There's an art to your own looking after your own mental and emotional well-being. There's an art to it. And basically also to do with your spiritual life, it's just not it's not only a logical thing. There's a creativity and an art to exploring your spirituality and then being able to manifest that in real life terms, okay? Now, so obviously, just to go into these little three things here individually, things like, activating your own artistic approach or your creative approach to your body can involve the following, right? It can involve choosing what you wear, right? Because you can wear colours and styles and things like that, and often certain colours suit you more than other colours. So there's an art to dressing and jewellery, and it doesn't have to be about what's in fashion. It can just be about what you like and what suits you, okay? Then you have obviously different types of movement that you could do, like dance or martial art, because they're all types of art or creative self-expression through movement or utilizing your body, okay? And also things like playing musical instruments or using your voice, which is, your vocal cords, which is a part of your body, using that as an art form to express through vocally, and probably speaking too, Now, the other thing that comes into the art of the body is nutrition and exercise. Okay, there's an art to taking care of your body, okay? So it's working in good health and not in an optimal way, okay? And there are probably other things in there that you could think of as well. One thing that I could think of too might be looking after your body in an energetic way, which might mean going out regularly in nature and getting some fresh air and getting the proper sleep that you need. So there's an art to that, okay? And Spirit are just sort of really kind of wanting me to encourage people from what they're viewing, is that like if people can view their lives as really an artful journey, or the whole of your life is really a creative expression of your life, of you, then it can assist to kind of get into a higher frequency with your life, okay? Now, with the mind, obviously, we're talking there about, so arts of the mind might be learning how to relax, because there's an art to that, okay? It's not necessarily a one-size-fits-all process. It's specific, and it can be tailored to you. Things like creative writing or journaling, okay, even playing music can be really beautiful for your mind to relax, playing an instrument or playing some music on your CD player, or wherever you play your music. And the other thing about if you're doing 2 or 3D arts, so 2D arts like painting and drawing, that type of thing, or crafts or anything like that, that they can be used as a means for self-expression. Okay, so it might be the art that you create might be a direct expression of your mood state, okay? As that's an example, right? Another thing is that sometimes people like to use arts to help them through a process of change. So it might be that maybe they go through difficult or challenging times, and they might go, well, I just really need to find something that helps me to switch off from these challenges, but yet affects me in a deeper way. So maybe you might go for something like maybe clay work or woodwork, or even just painting and things like that you kind of do semi-regularly to kind of really just nurture that other emotional deeper part of your mind, okay? And obviously for instance, the art of motivation, okay, that's a very mental thing, isn't it? The art of motivation. Now, there are lots of little skills and strategies you can use for that, right? And like I said, relaxation. So there's lots of things that come into the art of your mind, of your care for your mind, okay? Now, the arts of the spirit, which is the third one up here, these are just little notes that I jotted from meditation before I just sat down to do this. Is that the art of the spirit is about learning to center and align your energy, tapping into your inner light, okay? Perhaps doing some sort of daily ritual or a prayer. And you can also see how some of these other types of arts could be part of your spiritual art, okay? And also things like creating a social life for yourself, or generating opportunities. In other words, creating or being artful when it comes to your social and emotional connections with people is part of that as well. And also obviously about going out into nature can help you it's really an art of spiritual self-care to do that, okay? All these words can be used synonymously, really. It's like art, care, self-care, self-art, expression, creativity. All of that stuff is really, really good. Spirit's saying that we need to start doing that more now. We need to start creating and becoming more consciously aware of the fact that we are the creators of our own lives, our own well-being, our own mind-body-spirit complex. We can create the whole range of experiences and feelings and higher frequency ways of being, okay, than before, right? Now, they're also just wanting me to mention that things like gardening are really beautiful ways to really tap into the art of spirit, and even cooking a beautiful meal for other people is really beautiful for self-care, but also for giving, but also making. So it's creating, okay? And being in nature is the big one. Now, the main thrust of the whole reason for this is that Spirit wants us to see that even if we feel like we're not creating in our own life, is that by accessing and tapping into our creativity in some way, shape or form, either through art of body, art of mind, or art of spirit, is that we're going to be able to really start to galvanize and activate our inner resources that we have within us, that really empowers us to be able to change from a negative experience into a positive one. Okay, so it's about shifting from a low vibrational mindset of like, I'm not creative, I can't do anything. Okay, I can't do anything to change, I just know motivation, I'm just really depressed, I can't do anything. It's about shifting that, accessing creativity, and that will shift you into a higher vibration, because every time we create or make or do something like that where we are creating it, okay, it shifts our vibration into a higher level of frequency. And this is, I guess what they're saying is, it's one of the major skills or strategies that you can use if you find yourself in a situation in life, even just at times, or specifically or generally, if you find yourself in frustrating or low frequency mindsets, emotional states, and just even if you have emotional overwhelm of negative stuff, okay, this is a major awesome tip, is to start being creative, you know, with regard to your body, or with regard to your mind, or with regard to spirit, any of those little things, strategies that we mentioned and spoke about. Now, what we're going to be doing now is using the cards to get a visual on this. And because the theme, it's kind of around transformation. So what we want to be doing is transforming a negative vibration into a positive one, or transmutation, I guess is what it's called. Now, these cards are great because they present a shadow aspect and as a negative shadow aspect and a positive aspect. Okay, so something might come up from these that will help us out. Cosmic Tarot. Okay. Yeah, these have a lot of people images in them, and I kind of like how yeah, anyway, we'll talk about that as we go through. Wildwood Tarot, obviously very nature-based ones, and Isis has a lot of creative types of spiritual things. Okay, so yeah, I think these were the cards that I had. These were the ones. Okay, so let's just start to shuffling. And okay, actually, I don't think these were from my other deck. I think they were from this deck. Sorry, there were just cards underneath the book, and I wasn't sure if they were the blank ones, because some of these, yeah, some of them are blank. Okay. Right. So as we're shuffling, sip of coffee. So I just like to call in my spirit, Sirian guides, and also any archangels, light beings, galactic collectives, any other ascended masters as well that would like to assist with the reading. This particular reading, which we are on subject and topic of activating our creativity. So really that idea that, as you've already mentioned, Spirit, is that we are all artists, okay? Artists of body, artists of mind, and artists of the spirit. And in order for us to awaken more fully into our creative power, it would just be really awesome if we can get some visuals on these aspects, so that we can really start to transform our lives, even in the beginning, even in small ways, and really just allow the creativity to expand and grow over time is something else that we'd also like to have some guidance with. Yeah, and also everyone, if you know, like I said before, if something resonates with you, all well and good, you know, explore it further. If it doesn't resonate, anything I say, you know, don't feel obliged to take it on, okay? You can completely just let it go, right? You don't need to take it on. Now, but we are really ideally looking at shifting our frequency, you know, shifting it up a little bit so we can sort of get some relief, and we can sort of start to transform our lives, you know, slowly but surely, okay? And it's actually quite exciting because Spirit, we're just kind of really grateful for your assistance and guidance, and that, we know that we can call upon help for anything related to this, anything related to this topic, for sure. So anything that's going to help us move into a higher frequency is going to be just awesome. Oh, these cards jump all over the place because there's about 80 in the stack. Now, I'm going to cut those and these, and then I'm going to make, or we are going to create 3 stacks, which is quite a few stacks, but it's Spirit actually saying, that we need a lot of assistance with this. So it's really about assisting us to tap into our creative power, and just keeping in mind that we have we've really been given it all, in terms of we have a lot. We've been given a lot. We've been given our bodies and our minds and our spirits, and we really just have to start expanding into the awesomeness of that and start being creative with all of those things. Okay. Now, sorry, I'm just going to pick up this stack here. So, this is stack 1, if you will. Now, if you'd like to jot down notes or anything that I'm saying, awesome. You might want to grab a pen. And, I apologise in advance if I try to avoid repetition, but sometimes it's a bit tricky. Now, I'm actually going to put this a little bit closer so that you can get a good visual on the cards. Okay, so we'll look at them individually first. So this says initiation, spiritual testing of Ra and the Lady Isis. Okay, so it's spiritual initiation. This looks like Horus, son of Isis, I believe. Yeah, that's right. So that is initiation. Now, because what we'll do is we'll look at the cards in combination, sort of look at them together as well. Wow. Saboteur. The interesting thing here is that with regard to our creativity, a lot of us have that aspect of us repressed. Our creativity has been repressed, okay? And that can be because we've introjected a little saboteur into our psyche. Yeah, I've experienced this. Now, at the top here we have light attributes. This highlights your fear of self-empowerment and the changes it would bring to your life. So because the saboteur is invested in disempowering you, okay, they're saying that can indicate that you just have it's just about a fear of your own power. Okay. The interesting thing is that what we were saying about creativity is it's really about tapping into your creative power. That's what this is about. So beware of this little voice, but also realize that if it's there, if you feel your creativity is repressed, it hasn't disappeared. Okay, it's still there. Now, the shadow attribute obviously is the negative, low vibrational attribute or aspect of this. It says induces self-destructive behaviour or the desire to undermine others. So in terms of self-destructive, that could even be just you yourself telling you. So basically, your ego or personality, or an aspect of it, can actually tell you that you're not creative. Okay, so the fact that this card is in here is interesting, because Spirit are alluding us to the fact that we may well be telling ourselves that we're not creative, and we could actually be listening to that voice. But it's saying beware, and it's also saying that there's the flip side of that, is that, you know, you might just want to do a little dialogue with yourself about what is it about your creativity that perhaps you're afraid of, or has something happened in your past that was associated with a creative experience, or something that you did, maybe an arts or crafts experience, or something like that, where something a little bit traumatic happened and you sort of caused you to repress it. Okay, it's sort of saying that don't give up on your creativity. Okay, just slowly start to tap into it in one of these aspects of yourself, through one of those aspects. And sometimes it can be fear of change too, that can actually cause you to repress your creativity. So for instance, if you feel safer and secure with the status quo, then you would be perhaps less likely to explore your creativity. Okay, but obviously it's always worth exploring, and it would actually help to shift your frequency, which could be awesome. Shift it up higher and help you to transcend more easily and effectively any challenges that you have. And isn't that interesting that the initiation here, and I'm now going to go so far as to say that if you can actually face your inner saboteur and start to dialogue with it about your creativity, get into a conversation in a private, quiet moment, perhaps journaling at night, last thing at night, just start to have a little conversation with your saboteur, or any other time during the day, it doesn't have to be at night. That if you can start tapping into that, it will kind of lead you into a bit of an initiation, because you will start to, by doing that, you are acknowledging the depth of your soul. Okay, it's like a soul initiation to actually face this part of yourself, which is a very negative and destructive aspect. And you know what? Pretty much, I'd be pretty I'd say that 99.9% of people have this. Okay, we all self-sabotage in various ways. Okay, but to shift frequency, to alleviate suffering, and to move yourself into a happier way of being, if you can face this, it will bring changes for you. Now, but I'm also going to say, this can be hard work. It can take a few years, and you might need a therapist, depending on what it is that you need to look at. And this says here spiritual testing. Okay, so we all have blocks to our creativity. Is what Spirit's just telling me as well. We all have spiritual blocks. Okay, now, which obviously the inner saboteur can be a form of block, but there are other forms of blocks and defense mechanisms that we can raise their heads up in order to stop us from activating our creativity, or that tell us that we shouldn't even bother. Okay, now this dude here, Cosmic Tarot, is the Prince of Cups. Now, there is a particular star sign that this is an emotional card, a suit, an emotion, the suit of the emotions, and I think it is Pisces. No, Scorpio. This represents Scorpio, and obviously the little scorpion here. Now, Scorpio people can tend to be a little bit secretive with their emotions, Basically, creativity for someone who is like that can be really useful because it can aid with that self-expression process. So even if even if you are not able to talk about or express your emotions because they're really complicated, okay, if you can start to utilize some creativity through art, particularly this one here, Art of the Mind, 2D or 3D arts. Find a medium that you like. It might be paints or clay or woodwork or construction, anything. Okay. It will help you to release your emotions out onto there. And this can apply to anyone who's actually got a lot going on emotionally inside that they don't feel they can express because it's too much. Okay. Sometimes when you sit down in front of a counsellor, it's a little bit like, you have that feeling sometimes of like, and I've had this feeling, it's like, how the fuck am I going to explain all of this shit that's going on inside me, right? So this is about utilizing creativity or arts as a means to release that pressure valve and allow you to express through the medium as a complement or as a supplement to perhaps talking as well. Not at the same time necessarily, but once you start to alleviate and express stuff out through your art, you might then be able to go, well, yeah, I seem to have actually drawn this piece of art here, and I seem to actually kind of be expressing my thoughts, and maybe I'm even drawing my life here symbolically, and okay, I can get a bit of perspective on that now, and yeah, maybe I actually need to sort that bit out over there. Maybe I need to go talk to someone about that bit of my life. So sometimes doing art can actually assist that process, but I would suggest if you're not talking to anyone to really supplement that with some journal work, creative writing. Just basically pour your heart out onto the page, so to speak. And if you find writing difficult, like you might have an injury or disability or something, you could talk into a tape recorder. Okay? Believe it or not, even if you don't have someone else listening, okay, being able to speak it out can actually really start to help release that. You don't have to play it back to anyone, or you can play it back to yourself if you want to. Okay, but just vocalizing it verbally in real terms, not keeping it all in the head. I mean, talking it out can even be more therapeutic than writing it out. Okay, and you know what? When it comes to the body, we're talking about the voice. That is a form of expression, isn't it? So that could be one creative way that you could actually start to express your emotions. Just talking into a tape recorder. That is awesome. Now, the symbology there, we have a cup, which is symbolic of emotion. And that looks like it is actually a serpent or a little snake going up there. Looks like there's a bit of a light, but the snake is sort of in the dark. So basically, there are things hidden in the dark, so to speak, but it's worth shedding a light on them in order for the healing to take place. Okay, now the expression on the face here of this person looks a little bit quite serious, and perhaps a little troubled looking. So, and the thing is, generally we have been through quite troubled times, haven't we? So we really need to start activating our creativity to help take care of ourselves. Right. Now, I'm just going to arrange these so we can get a better visual. Now, this one's awesome that's come up, and it is the green woman. Yes, and that is awesome because we have like little nature spirits, and we have that connection to nature here. That real, and it's also alluding to, I've had this card before come up in a lot of readings. It's really about taking care of the body. This is almost about art of the body. It's like, look after it as a natural thing. Try and feed it natural foods as much as possible. Go out in nature, be a part of nature, experience the energetic benefits of that. We spoke about that in the previous video about grounding and relaxing and de-stressing in nature. Okay, And that can also assist with dealing with like emotional turmoil. Okay. And so so there we have the initiation. So it's quite awesome too. I really like this person's in a balloon. They're literally taking flight, which is awesome. Yeah. So, and this is, art of the body. This is almost, art of the mind. This one here, it's about learning what you can do to help you with your emotions and thoughts. Okay. This one is like a deeper. These two are almost together, like a deeper sort of spirit, like the art of the spirit. Okay, because as you can imagine, if you have an inner saboteur that's really telling you that you're not creative, it's not really going to help you to feel free in your spirit, or to feel liberated, because you have this hanging over you. Okay, you have this saboteur or this downer that's telling you you can't do this and you can't do that, and it's kind of like completely disempowering you. And I mean, if you have a negative experience of power, okay, you may need to go through a process of becoming friends with power again, and really just rewriting that whole script about what power is for yourself. Okay. Because some people, as we know, utilize that power to lord it over others or manipulate them. Okay, and when you've been on the receiving end of that, it's very easy to have a negative view of power. But when you can actually start to turn that around and redefine what power means to you, if it means activating goodness and alignment with the powers of light in terms of unconditional love, positive regard, peace, love, happiness and joy, okay, then power takes on a whole new meaning. Okay, and so then you might find that, well, you're not sabotaging, you don't feel like that you need to sabotage your own inner power anymore, because you have a different concept of it than what you previously had. And that could be a subject that you might like to do a whole lot of art on. Okay, you could even do, just currently, what is power? What's your view of power? Just do an artwork representing your view of power, and then do one of what you think it should be. Okay. So this is actually about empowerment. That's what I figure. It's actually about what my little take on it. But Spirit's put the cards here in front of us, so it's like, it's really awesome. And it's a spiritual. So this is like an art of the spirit, to be able to rewrite your own reason for being, really. Right? Rewrite your reason for being here. Create your own reason for existence. Don't allow other people to determine what that reason is, positive or negative. Okay. Now, of course, you can, gain support from other people who have a similar values and similar mission or reason or purpose. Okay, but find it for yourself first. Define it for yourself. Now, oh my God, that was a long time on that. Right, let's look at the next stack. So this is stack 2. We're just looking at them. This is about getting tips on transformation from low vibration to high vibration, utilizing our creativity. Wow. This is the Isis Oracle. Goddess of 10,000 names. I was going to say 1,000, but no, it's 10,000. Isis, endless emanations of the priestess. So that is about diversity. That is about multiplicity, multidimensionality. Okay. And do you think that that's a creative concept? Of course it is. It's highly creative. And this is referring to creativity of the spirit. So not only do you have a current life now, but you have had past lives, and you have accumulated all the experiences. Your soul has accumulated those experiences, lessons and learnings, and sometimes, traumas and upsets of the past lives. And you've also had galactic lives. So, the soul is an amazing thing. It's not this uncreative little drop of light that gets put into you. There's a lot more to it. And you could do a whole lot of artwork around that. You could do some meditations on past lives and go, yeah, I feel resonant with these sets of similar civilizations in these particular eras. I wonder if I had a past life back there. Okay? That's creativity and art of the spirit. Okay? Explore your past lives and your soul. What else have we got here? Samaritan. Okay, let's see what it says. Light attribute. Refines your capacity to help those you would prefer to ignore. So Samaritan, of course, is about doing good things for others. And the other thing too is that when you have the spiritual purpose, or the art of your spirit, because what your soul wants is for its own highest good to prevail, and it also wants to help others to achieve their own highest good as well. Okay, so this is it is actually really spiritual card as well, and it's talking about you helping others. Okay, now the shadow attribute, exacting appreciation and recognition for the help you offer. So that's just about saying that on the negative, low vibrational side, it's like, well, you always want to be recognized, or you always want to get money for what you do, or you always want people to say you're great. Okay, this is when you can actually work out what it is that you really love to do, because it's that stuff that gives you joy, that you don't care whether people acknowledge it or not, because the main thing is that you enjoy doing it and you get a lot out of it. Not necessarily the approval or the recognition. Okay, it's the experience and what your soul feels from doing that. Okay, so this is also a card about joy and inner meaning, and really trying to tap into that, and trying to not get caught up too much into doing the stuff just to get approval from other people. Okay, this is about you getting approval, giving approval to yourself. So it's literally like this part of you is approving of all of these other aspects. And we're talking about your body and your mind and your spirit here. Okay, so we're getting creative with this whole thing, right? Now, this is actually getting to be a pretty nitty-gritty reading, because there's some low vibrational cards coming up here as well. But that is what it's about, is what Spirit's saying to me, is that we can't ignore that there is low vibrational stuff going on, and we can't ignore that aspect of ourselves, and we can't ignore that we're always perhaps going to be subject to it, but it's what we do with it that counts. Now, this one here, of course, is along those lines. 9 of Swords. Now, that is an extremely challenging situation, and it's kind of also alluding to that perhaps that this whole concept here of the multidimensionality basically has been under attack. So there are a lot of people and a lot of powers that be that do not ascribe to this, that do not ascribe to the power that you're soul has. Okay. So it's saying there that refine your capacity to help those. Yeah. It's really emphasizing that what you need is to actually tap into, is to utilize the creativity in order to transform this into a positive. Okay, because, and it's really about activating new ways of thinking, new ways of being, and new ways of seeing. Okay, in order to shift on from that. Let me just look at the last. Let's look at the last one, and this is another one called the Blasted Oak, which has literally been blasted because it's broken at the top there, and someone's falling down. Now, right, the Blasted Oak is the symbol of the Tower, which is literally how things used to be. It's a card of change. So basically, it's a breakdown. So how things used to be, it's going to have a turnaround. Okay, so whereas this used to be, this idea of multidimensionality used to be considered a crock of shit. Okay, it's not going to be for too much longer, right? Because things have to get blown out of the water, or literally blasted out of the tree, in order for new things to come through, more creative things. So basically, if most of humanity is being held in a disempowered state, you know, the big shift is that we are going to become more empowered. And guess what? The main force is that's going to assist us to do that. Creativity, folks. Creativity. Okay. Become co-creators. And I'm not the only person on YouTube that said that. There are a lot of really big speakers out there that say that. So I'm just really reiterating it. But it's definitely on topic, on theme of what we're talking about here. It's transforming negative into positive, which is about being creative, coming up with new stuff, or putting it together in a new way. Okay, so that, you know, this can happen. But the thing is, I mean, we might be falling out of the tree, but if we're activating a creative means, even you can think about creativity of the body here, if we basically tuck and rolled, we'd just roll and we'd stand right back up again, wouldn't we? Depending on where you land. But yeah, and I mean this one here, it looks like a rain of swords, but literally, I mean, they're only coming down in one spot in the sky. I mean, I guess he's already been stabbed, but the thing is, if he wasn't standing there in the first place, it may not have happened. I mean, look at this snake's even been stabbed here. And there's buildings falling down in the background there as well. But, you know, this is the other thing Spirit's saying is that even though it might look bad, okay, there's always a flip side. You know, even though things might be crap around you, guess what? You can still be creative in that, and you can still shift it and change it. It's a matter of being creative. So, creativity of spirit, helping others, realizing your multidimensionality, your past lives as well, your intergalactic nature. Okay, these two are really like, well, yeah, this one's like really like the body's been under attack, and this one might be, this one could be the mind here, and this one's really the body has been under attack. Okay, and that's the thing, we have been under attack energetically. Okay, but it's time to stand up and reclaim our power and just blow it out of the water. Okay, now last stack, Talismans of Potency. Wow, this one was on topic in terms of the body, wasn't it? About what we wear, how we wear it, and jewelry. This is about imbuing that with spiritual meaning, and we can make those things. Right? We can get beautiful crystals and make things, and even just utilize crystals in our living environment. But that's also about spiritual ritual. Okay, setting intent, prayer, meditation, all that stuff. Now, we've had the martyr, the saboteur, and what was this one? The Samaritan today. They are big archetypes, I tell you. A lot of people have these archetypes, right? Now, the light attribute of the martyr, learning the transcendent nature of service to oneself or a cause. Transcendence. Okay? This is another thing that what creativity is about, is when we transform a negative into a positive, or low frequency into high frequency, we are transcending. Okay? So if you can redefine your meaning or your purpose, you can literally transcend. If your current perceived meaning or purpose is sort of low frequency, where you feel like it's a bit meaningless, you can transcend that by creating meaning through creativity. Not just doing art, okay? We're talking about the art of the body, art of the mind, art of the spirit. So it might be any little thing that you can do pertaining to those 3 areas of yourself, or even 1 or 2 areas of that of yourself. Shadow attribute says here, addiction to self-pity. So yeah, that's a little bit like the poor me syndrome, okay? Or the person that always feels continually victimized, and sometimes those types of people can just be down on everything. They can be down on other people, down on themselves, down on yada yada yada. It's shit, it's crap, and they can be addicted to that feeling, and not even realizing that they're addicted, and not even realizing that they have a choice in the matter. That if they could activate their creativity, they could actually shift out of that mindset. Okay? So that is the negative aspect, folks. That's if you're basically in give it up mode, or you're feeling sorry for yourself all of the time. Okay? Now, the flip side of that, obviously, is learning about finding a purpose that helps you to, or a service or a cause, okay, that helps you to transcend that low vibrational state. And that's going to be really useful. And this is suggesting here that prayer, meditation and ritual can be a good way to do that. And isn't that awesome? This one here is the Sun of Life. That is cool. That's literally like a light shining in the heart chakra of that person, which is kind of awesome. That is almost like a body activation, a chakra activation, an energy body activation. But see that beautiful light behind there? It's like the light behind and the light within. That's awesome. That is like, that state is like the art of the spirit, to actually kind of feel into that energetically, like if you're out in nature, really feel into that. And that there is an art to that. There's an art to everything, okay? This posture here is very similar. The transcendent nature of service to oneself or a cause. And what Spirit's also saying is that you really got to invest in yourself more. Invest in developing these aspects of yourself and utilize some creativity with it. Do it creatively, is what they're saying. Invest in yourself, in your body, in your mind, in your spirit, in creative ways. Because anything that you come up with that's different is being creative, isn't it? Now, this here is King of Pentacles. That's symbolising Capricorn. Yes, that's correct, because we have the little goat here. I'm pretty sure that's Capricorn, King. Yep, that is Capricorn. Now, Capricorn is an earth sign. Okay. So very grounded on the earth. And takes note of the little steps that need to be done in order for things to fall into place. So like I said before, you really only need to start doing little things and slowly build over time. You might even want to just grab a piece of paper and just pop down, body, mind, spirit. What are some creative things that I can do with regard to my body, self-care, appearance, or whatever, and even maybe my nutrition or my health? What can I start doing now that I haven't been doing before that would be really good? Just one or two things, and then go, okay, with my mind, have I tried doing some guided relaxation? I could try that. And then with your with the spirit, just go, well, do I get out in nature much? Or, do I pray, or do I believe in God? Well, I don't know. I think maybe I kind of do, but I don't really know. Like, I kind of want to, I guess, find out a bit more about myself spiritually. Well, start to look into that. And it's just saying that, we really need to start viewing ourselves really as, this word potent is almost like powerful as well. Like, we have potency and we have power. Everyone does, okay? We're all creative. We are all artists. We all have a body, we all have a mind, and we all have a spirit and a soul, okay? So we all have a lot in common, really. But yeah, this Pentacles is also about practicality. Okay, it can also be about covering your bases financially, taking care of the home environment, being responsible for family. But it's mainly, I think, what Spirit sort of wanting me to emphasize here is that it's mainly about working out some little steps or little action points, okay, that you can take for yourself. And this one here is kind of about, it's almost alluding to maybe creative jewelry making, or something like that, or something crafty that you might like to do, which is creative, okay, but try and put some meaning behind it. So for instance, I've got this necklace on here, but if I made if I'd made some little beads out of clay, I might like to thread them or paint them. It might be that each little bead represents something in my life that I've done over many years. Okay, so all of the thread of the beads could be, each bead could represent something in my life. So and that can have, a lot of meaning. So it's all about what we imbue meaning, how we imbue meaning. But it could also be as simple as, well, I like to say, for example, you might like a particular colour, like orange. You might say, well, I like to wear orange because for me, orange makes me feel cheerful, happy, warm, cosy, more powerful. Maybe it makes me feel more creative, something like that. And you might even like to dress in a certain way before you do your art or your craft, or before you do your meditation or whatever. Okay, there might be little pre-rituals that you do to kind of get yourself into the mindset to activate this, doing some creativity. Spirit's popped in some quite meaty ones in here for us. Martyr, that can also be about suffering yourself for the good of someone else, but suffering to your own detriment as well. It can be about sacrificing your creativity so that something else can be done. Right? Now, I think Spirit's also just saying to be aware of that attitude, be wary of how we might sabotage our creativity, but also be wary of how we might justify sabotaging it in terms of, well, I don't have time to be creative because I'm too busy doing all this stuff for other people, and I'm too busy working to earn the money so that I can have a house over my head. A roof over my head, sorry. That could be true, but there are lots of different ways that you can integrate creativity into your life. You don't have to spend 5 hours a week in a specific art studio that you have to have fully decked out in order to be creative. Okay, you don't have to do it that way. You could just get a couple of balls of wool, maybe sit down after tea, spend 15 minutes to make a little friendship band for your son or your daughter and teach them how to do it. Like, it's not a biggie, okay? Just start to become aware of when and where you could slip in some more creativity, okay? Even for you specifically, or it might be something that you do with your family together, okay? So then you don't have to sabotage it, or you don't have to suffer in the name, suffer because you feel that you have to, what I'm trying to say, yeah. Samaritan can be another classic of, well, when it comes to our creativity, we might go, well, being creative doesn't necessarily make me money, so why would I bother doing it? I really just need to focus on doing the right thing by my family and just focusing on what has to be done. Interesting thing is that creativity sometimes is not one of those things that you get recognition or approval for, but it's really good for your soul. So it's a spiritual thing, okay? So it's just sort of saying to us, just be wary of these little archetypal influences that can come in. Because also the other thing they just want me to emphasize is that while we have these kind of negative type of archetypes, okay, and we might have more shadow attributes of some of the, there are always negative and positive attributes of archetypes, okay. We might also have some other really positive and uplifting ones in there. So for instance, a lot of us might actually have the artist archetype, or there might be the poet or the musician, okay. The dancer is another archetype. You might have, you might even have the priestess, or the holy person, or you might have the athlete or the warrior, or something like that might really help you to tap into these aspects of yourself. So even now, as I'm saying, the art of the mind, one of the little strategies you could do is to literally explore, and you can go on to carolynmiss.com, is to explore your archetypes. And I'd like to just emphasize that even though there are 80 cards here sort of outlining different archetypes, there are more than that, okay. If you go on miss.com, MYSS.com, you can explore your archetypes. So basically it's just a little process of choosing ones that resonate with you and just looking into them. And sometimes two archetypes can start to dialogue, okay. And it can be really interesting. So just to wrap up, this was a reading about activating creativity pertaining to different aspects of yourself. So your mind, your body, and your spirit. Okay, and also we could put soul in there. I should have had soul, spirit, but sometimes the soul actually taps into, the soul is expressed through the body and the mind and the spirit, okay. So your soul is the whole of you, right? And it's actually quite empowering when you can start tapping into yourself in creative ways and really start to shift and improve your life in ways that you want to improve it, okay, or get more meaning, more happiness, more joy, more love, okay, in your life. And that's really what this is about, because Spirit really just wants us to start to shift any of that low frequency, that residue, that low frequency stuff that's hanging around, that we just need to transform it and just start being creative so that we can do that. And I think we're going to leave it there. Just remember, we are all artists. We are artists of our minds, artists of our bodies, and artists of our spirit. And our soul, if we can tap into our soul, that will really help us to start to feel into that. So that is it for today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, or evening, or morning, and I will catch you next time. Ciao.